Well, according to StreamYard, Jeff, it's showtime with an exclamation point.
Makeup.
Yeah, well, obviously, I missed that department this morning.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Okay, good. Guys, what's going on out there this morning? I hope you're having a great day so far, wherever you are. Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. We are graced with the presence once again of my good friend, great pro, a great player, and unique perspective on all things living, Jeff Jackledge.
Cheers.
Yeah. So I'm a little flummoxed today, befuddled today, distracted today for one big reason, and we'll get into that in just a second. But look, I originally sent out an email with the wrong link to YouTube. Maybe that's why no one's going to show up today. I just put it out there just a couple minutes ago, so hopefully it gets to you. And I had it at 6 a.m. last night, so that was wrong. It's supposed to be 8 a.m. as it is now. So anyway, apologies for that. Jeff, let's get rolling on this because we're going to try to keep this under 10 minutes today. First thing is, every day we are going live. Let me back that up just a hair. We're going live, not 6 a.m., daily at 8 a.m. YouTube, Facebook, and X, as in formerly known as Twitter.
Twit.
Yeah.
The twit.
So we're doing What's the Right Shot? And generally speaking, the two premises of what's the right shot or where do you want the ball to land over there and where do you want to move to next on the court. Today's version is going to be a simple serve and volley point. And I'm going to focus on one thing in particular. And Jeff, I'm going to tee you up for adding your good stuff as always. And then the next thing is going to be every afternoon, daily, 2:30 Pacific time zone on those three platforms. We're doing some tennis mindset training. For me, the missing piece, really what I embraced the last 18 months that led to kind of a decent year 2023.
It's all right.
I thought I had a pretty good year until I looked up what Jimmy Parker did last year and I went, God dang it.
Dang it.
God dang it. And then I realized, wait a minute, he does that every year. So what am I doing? All right, what do we got here? Let's get rolling. And this is kind of why I'm a little upset today, a little out of sorts, is my good friend Jim McKinnon passed away yesterday. And really one of my great tennis friends, I mean, a good friend outside of tennis, but one of my great tennis friends, a guy that frequently, when I worked with Tom Stowe, I only worked with Tom for about 18 months, and it was the end of Tom's life. And I think he struggled a little bit articulating really what it was that he was trying to convey. And, but for me, I got enough of the Stowe stuff to be dangerous, at least in the beginning, to where I try stuff. And for a while, I would say for the first 6, 7, 8 months, I mean, I was launching balls all over that zip code at the Berkeley Tennis Club. And guys were coming up to me going, are you sure you really want to keep doing this? And I said, I don't know. I'm just going to keep rolling. Fortunately, I had Bill Crosby there, Tom's former assistant, who would, take me aside and go, look, you're on the right path, but I think you're kind of overcomplicating this thing just a little bit, overthinking it. But I would also go to Jim McKinnon and I would say, Mac, I don't understand what Tom meant when he said fill in the blank.
Right.
And Mac would just kind of chuckle in the way he did, maybe one of the driest senses of humors I ever come across. Just hysterical. And most of the time I didn't know if he was serious or if he was working me.
Right.
But I would go to him and his interpretation of the Stowe stuff was so different. It was unique. Everyone, I mean, from Stefanki to Kinger to all these other guys and even you through, kind of one step removed. I could go to Mac and he would really, really just say it to me in a way that was incredible. So,
I loved his commitment, his belief to the I don't want to say, Stowe methodology. Stowe had that unique perspective of just cutting through the crap.
Yeah.
And just
No
going
question.
directly to, you know, the source, what's going on here. And I think, you know, Jim had that same thread of not caring what the popular trend of the week of the year was in stroke development. And really, it doesn't matter what it is. There's still a very clear, clean thread of thought. And it doesn't matter whether you're trying to hit a modern forehand or a classic straight in, straight out forehand. Stowe was right. And I love the fact that Jim didn't waver from the fact that, you know,
he never did.
It didn't matter what you brought him. It was like, well, you know, that's great, but if you're missing element 1 and 2, I don't care what you're trying to do with the ball. So I love that about Jim, is that he stayed. Again, his perspective through that lens was always.
Yeah. Look, guys, I don't know what's happening with the website. I've exchanged a few emails with his partner, Anthony, and his business partner, Anthony, and we're going to do a couple things. Make sure that I hate to say it like this, but no one gets in there and tries to take his stuff, or no one gets in there and tries to claim that this. But anyway, so we're going to make sure that thing's locked down. But I'm sure that if you're looking for some McKinnon instruction, no, the website's still live. It's essentialtennisinstruction.com. It's all one word. And so there you have it. I'm sure more to come in the next few days. So let's move on here. And what I want to work on today, guys, is a real simple serve and volley. I'm just going to run the point through real time, and now I want to go back, and I want to start with what I think is so important about serve and volley, Jeff, which is that you've got to get your service motion, and which is kind of toss dependent, into a spot that makes coming out of your service motion super efficient, so that you really try to kind of clear out these first few steps as efficiently as possible. So at worst case, if the guy is playing in a little tight inside the baseline where my opponent isn't here, or if they really scorch a return, that at least you're halfway between the baseline and the service line getting in. And I think so that's number one. You got to make sure your toss is far enough out in front that's doable, that you efficiently, on balance, with good posture and some swing freedom, come out of that service motion naturally moving forward. And are you always going to be able to play your first volley with your foot on top of the service line? Probably not. Right. And so this to me was, especially in the 75s, thank you very much, especially, but if you think about it, with your opponent somewhat back behind the baseline, this is a first serve. And my thought with serve and volley, Jeff, is most of the time, I want to serve at the body. Mm-hmm. I want this guy, I want to see if I can tie up stroke technique a little bit, and this one gets in on him.
Yeah, get them handcuffed a little bit.
Mm-hmm. A little bit, enough to kind of throw up a duck that gives me a little bit more time to get here with the volley. So that's the part I want to kind of work through. I know we've been saying 10 minutes and we're already past 9 minutes, but because of what we talked about with Mac today, I feel like we can go over. I want you to talk more about the volley. Mm-hmm. So let's take it from the top.
So so just, you know, I'm going to start the serve anyway. Okay, I don't care, Benny. I'm going to start the serve anyway.
Gosh darn it. I'm out of control.
Like, you're on point on the serve, your toss is right in line. So when you come out of the serve, basically you're hitting your serve and then running after your ball. I mean, you can see the line you're on. You are running right behind your ball. Okay. You delivered your mark perfectly. There's your split check is right on point, right where it should be. He gets tied up. That ball's floating. We can see it's floating, and that gives you it's floating, but it's also dying on the vine. So this is a much harder volley than the result looks like, because you have to go out wide, and it's a little dicey here. Like, should you go cross court or not? I mean, he's shuffled back into position. He's one shuffle inside the center of the court, which isn't bad considering he got tied up. But you lay that thing down there, I don't know, picture perfect, right? And it's not like you hyper stuck this volley. Obviously, you hit a good clean volley. You drove it to the corner, but right there, your balance point. This is where, all week long, we've been talking about all these different elements, and this is where the physicality of being in shape, having done the core work and having done the hip flexor work, comes into play. Your ability to be balanced, focused. You got good posture here. You're comfortable having the racket just sit there and wait for the ball to come in. There you go. You make contact, and then you're able to grab that right foot, plant it, and you're on point. You're able to see. I mean, you can see he's not going. So, but right there, you can see how easy it was for you to stop, recover, and start to make a move back into the court.
So, what are you going to say to the guys who say, Jeff, well, gee, don't ever volley to the open court? I mean, it's like an approach shot, right? So,
yeah. I mean, I think that this is where, again, as we move across, the barriers of professional tennis into senior tennis, the dynamics and the variables change. And this is, again, where, senior tennis, you're in the 75s. Everybody doesn't get off the mark as fast as we used to at age 20.
Yeah.
And what you can get away with it's a different animal. That's just my take and my experience too, is that I hit a lot more cross court balls even on approaches now than I ever did as a junior, a D1 college player and a pro playing a tour. I mean, it was like you take this ball you got right there and you drive it into the corner, into the backhand corner. So with the premise being this, when you volley, when you make your first volley, you want to bring your opponent and the ball in front of you so you don't have to cross the court and have to reestablish new position on the other side of the court. Because what happens is you're giving him the ball first while you have to try and get in front of him instead of bringing him in front of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's kind of traditional, geometry thinking is you bring your opponent in front of you with the ball because your position is already established.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So look, here's a reality is two things on this particular match. This was ironically the finals of the National Clay Courts in Virginia Beach, which we got rained out that day. So had to go indoors.
That's a clean looking clay court.
Thank you. Yeah, they really worked on the lines. So, and I don't know, for whatever reason on this particular morning, you know how this goes, Jeff. I won the finals 1-1 against a guy who was clearly the number 2 guy all year last year.
Right.
And so there are some days when you go out there, and because now, at least for me, when I'm at the end of a tournament, I've now got X number of matches under my belt in singles, in doubles. Brian and I won the doubles the day before. I'm feeling pretty gosh darn confident at this point.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if this is a first round match against a good player, maybe I'm not feeling that. And maybe I'm not thinking, well, I can get, like you say, the dying duck and get around the outside of that ball, get to the right side of the ball with contact and feel like I can just stick that dang thing over there. But on this day, I was feeling it. And so I think, we can't say that, well, you just should never go cross court with this volley, because there are going to be days when, I'm sorry, but you're just feeling it and you just go for it. I'm not saying this is going to win the point every time. Right. But there's some days when it's like if we could bottle that, Jeff, and we could market that and we could sell that feeling. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, listen, it's great to win when you're having a day. Those are great days, and you should enjoy them to the last point and milk it. But the expectation of playing at that level 365 is like, you get a handful of days like that a year where
That's right.
you're godlike and you can do no wrong and your half volleys doesn't matter, just turns out really great. And you're just like, everything's moving and flowing great. You get a handful of days like that. You also get a handful of days at the bottom of the barrel where it feels like you got 2 cinder block tennis shoes on and a frying pan in your hand. So, but everything in between is really what we're trying to get to, is that place where we're just kind of moving along, and then you have a little spike and it goes, and then of course you have a day the other night.
Yeah.
Can you go back really quick? I know we're trying to get out of here faster, but go back really quick to where the ball is on your strings, right there. Okay, and I want to, yeah. So he's completely neutral, right? So he might be hanging there thinking, again, because he's, again, age group matters in the geometry of the game, how we were all taught, how we played the game, right? So is he thinking, probably because of your court position, is he hanging just a hair thinking you're going to bring it up the line to his backhand? Could be. I just want to point that out, how neutral he is at your contact, which is what we're supposed to be, neutral. But is he hanging there just a hair?
Or he may also be thinking, well, what shot would I play?
Right.
And
exactly.
And he probably would not play this shot. Maybe he would. I don't know. But maybe he's thinking at that point, well, the shot that I would play would not be this. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, again, this was from the finals of the end of the year from the clay courts in Virginia Beach. And look, one of the things that made the difference for me in 2023 was something I'd never done before, Jeff, which was really to dive into the mental part of the game. I always thought, well, can't I just out physical everybody? Can't I just outwork them? You hear that term, well, just outwork them, baby. And I knew I was putting in probably at least, if not more time on the court, at least, if not more time in the gym, at least, if not more time trying to not eat that and not drink that for the year. And yet it moved the needle a little bit, but it never really got me to the results that I had last year. And so for me, the mindset part was the missing piece. And what I've done is I put together a course, and there are 5 mindset skills that I've developed, and they're so simple. The real challenge is, can you put a reminder in your phone twice a day? I was doing it about 6 in the morning and maybe 8 at night to kind of habituate 5 different things. It took me about 5, 6, 7 minutes a day, but it was a missing piece. So guys, if you're feeling like maybe you're coughing up some leads at the end of sets or the end of matches, or maybe feeling a little tight, a little nervous, and just you're getting to the finish line against these guys who you could play with, but you're just not getting the win. That was my case with some of the top guys. Then I invite you to take a look at this course that I've got for you. Everything is explained over at webtennis.com/SLR, as in skill level range. SLR 5 habits. There's a link down below in the description area if you're on YouTube. And go check it out. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. Jeffrey, thank you for your time today, dude. Good insights as always. Guys, I'll be around this afternoon at 2:30 Pacific. We'll do some mindset training then. And certainly don't believe it if I've written 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Get your mind right.
Yeah, come on, man. It's really 8 a.m. You got to get inside my head here.
I read between the lines. I got it.
I know. All right, guys, get out there. Help someone else have a great day. See you again next time.